I'm Jennifer Cook with Gilpin County CSU Extension. We're here looking at some mountain pine beetle infected trees, and we're going to talk today about what you can do as a landowner to manage your property for mountain pine beetle. So if you look behind me, you'll see there's some already dead trees with brown needles. So those, if you find those on your property, you don't have to worry about managing them specifically for mountain pine beetle because the beetles have already left the tree. What you want to do right now, it's early, here it's November, so early winter, you want to walk your property and look for trees that have the pitch tubes. They're green trees but are impacted by the beetle this year. So brown trees, don't worry about, you manage them just like you would any other tree for firewood. But right now we're going to walk the property and look for trees infected by mountain pine beetle. So let's take a closer look. Alright, so this is the next tree I found. You'll notice this is a really big tree. It's a ponderosa. And these are the most commonly hit trees currently in Gilpin County. But, so I find that there's pitch tubes all over this tree. So I know it was definitely hit by a mountain pine beetle. But then I look up and I realize that these needles are already brown and dead. So what that tells me is this tree was infected last winter. The beetles bore into the tree last spring or last summer. The eggs and the larvae ended up staying in the winter, last winter in this tree, and then they flew out this summer. So I know that the beetles are no longer in this tree because the tree is dead. So I'm going to manage this tree just as I would any other dead tree on my property and not worry about the mountain pine beetle. Okay, now I found another tree with pitch tubes. This is also a ponderosa. And I look up and see the needles are still green, so I know that this tree was just hit by the pine beetle. So here's how I'm going to manage this tree. If you want to try and kill all the larvae in this tree so they don't come out next year and fly and kill other trees, here's how you manage the infected tree. First thing, definitely cut it down as soon as possible. The beetles live just under the bark, so you want to dry out the tree. After you cut it down, you can either debark it. Once it's debarked, all the beetles will, or all the larvae and the eggs will die because it'll dry out. So you can debark it and then use the wood as you normally would for firewood once it dries. The second option is to mulch it. Mulching the entire tree, including the slash, will kill all the eggs and the beetle larvae so they won't be able to survive the winter. So those are basically your two options that work really well up here in Gilpin County. So to kill the beetles, again, let's recap. Either debark the tree or mulch the tree. At the very least, cut it down as soon as possible and hopefully it'll dry out. But that's not a surefire way to kill all the beetles inside. Okay, so we looked at our property. Some final thoughts are if you have some trees that are not impacted yet by the pine beetle, you can always use pheromone packets or a pesticide. Pesticide is very expensive and you only want to do that for one or two prized trees on your property. But remember, mountain pine beetle only impacts ponderosa pine and lodgepole primarily. Those are the two right now. So if you have a Douglas fir or another type of tree, you don't have to do anything to defend it. If you have any further questions, you can contact the Gilpin County CSU Extension Office. We're happy to do field visits and answer any questions you might have. Thanks for your time today.